everyone, I'm here today with Jean Arnault, and we're at Fabrique du Temps. In English, it's Fabric of Time. I love the name. And we're here today to talk about everything regarding Louis Vuitton's watchmaking, from mecha quartz stuff to the quartz stuff to the high-end complications that you guys do.
Thank you very much for coming. It's very, very nice to have you here, and I'm sure you're gonna really like the amazing tour.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've heard amazing things, and I guess we can start by saying, how, for you, like, what is your vision for the watchmaking division in Louis Vuitton?
One thing that's quite interesting with LV watches is the fact that we are only very young in the watchmaking industry. We're celebrating 20 years this year.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much. and in the realm of watchmaking, when you are against companies that are 250, 100 years, 250, or even more sometimes, years in the industry, it might seem like a bit of a baby. But I often compare it to a bit of an important anniversary of a human being, of saying, okay, we've reached 20 years old. Up to 20 years old, you need to learn everything. You need to go to school. You need to learn life and make mistakes, have successes in your first steps in life. And then as soon as you reach 20, it's the time where you have to make the big decisions, whether you go to higher education, you start your career, you try to find your passion, or you want to go in sports, whatever it is. And I think that's the moment for us right now, is to say, okay, well, we've reached 20 years old. We've learned a lot from our first beginnings in the watchmaking industry. And then we have to make big decisions for the future. So the great success that we can learn from the last 20 years, obviously, are high watchmaking collections that are all obviously made here in Fabrique du Temps. We've done many complications. We have a wide range of capabilities, all the way from automatons to mid repeaters to the spin time complication as well. And I think focusing around that category is the future for our collections.
And first of all, congrats again on the 20 years. And I think it's honestly incredible for the Tambour collection, because I remember when I was growing up, that was what I saw. And for our generation, it's an actually super iconic design. Yeah. And for a brand that has only been in proper watchmaking for 20 years, that's quite an achievement.
It's one of the lucky feats that we have, is that we stuck true to our guns from the get-go of focusing on the tambour shape, on the tambour case, and getting that design forward. And we never really deroged from it. So you can't expect any revolutions coming on that front. But we were lucky to be able to call it an icon, not necessarily as strong as the 50-year one that you have on your wrist, but still, I mean, it's our watchmaking icon. It's very complicated to get one, meaning a brand getting an icon, rather.
Exactly.
And we're very lucky at that.
No, it's and last year I was on the GPHG jury, and I remember the decision was extremely unanimous amongst everyone on the jury, because I mean, for the Audacity Prize with the Carpe Diem, I mean, that's a combination of so many different horology components, right? I need a Porsche enameling with jump hour, with the retrograde minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah, and the moving parts, obviously, on the dial. That project actually stemmed from us making piece uniques for clients. So we used to make, we still make today, completely bespoke custom pieces for clients, from case, dial, movement, everything unique. So unique movement, unique case, unique dial, everything. And after 3 or 4 of them over the last 10 years, we realized, we need to communicate on this. We need to show something. We need to show something to the public to show what we're capable of.
Exactly.
And the Carpe Diem stem from that. Obviously, we can't communicate on the specifics of the unique pieces that we've made in the past, because of clients' privilege and things like that. But we wanted to show our muscle a little bit to the public, and that's what we came about.
And it paid off.
No, for sure. It's gone pretty well on that front, and obviously bringing Anita and Dick Steinman in the process was an amazing feat for us. We've been working with them since 2007. Our first projects with them was way back when. and yeah, no, it's been a great journey for us.
Amazing. And so actually, since you just brushed up on it a little bit, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the bespoke process for Louis Vuitton and how that works.
I mean, it's a funny thing. I don't know of any other watch manufacturers that actually propose that. I mean, there are a few here and there, but we're, I think, one of the only ones with the capabilities of essentially having a client that comes in and says, I want such and such complication that's either done or never done before at LV or even beyond. And I want this kind of design, this kind of case, this kind of dial, try to make it work. And, we'll work with the client back and forth to see exactly what he or she wants specifically. And it goes all the way, from, I mean, when I say fully bespoke project, it's truly like a fully custom piece from start to finish. So that client wants that kind of case, he or she will get that kind of case, wants a baguette, no baguette, wants specific engravings, doesn't specific, you know what I mean? Like it's not only just a dial color or a hand change or anything like that on an existing model. It's properly a new watch from start to finish, bracelet, no bracelet, whatever you want.
That's amazing.
So it's fun. It's obviously a lengthy process because you get to live through with the client the process step by step. But it's one thing that we're super proud of, and it's one thing that LV does very well as well in other categories. With from trunks to bags to anything we do propose that bespoke experience. Watchmaking is slightly more complicated because you got more moving parts, obviously, and you make sure that everything's reliable and everything like that. But we've made unique movements, which is something that's something that not
I don't
many people
think
know.
many brands do at all.
We have unique movements for custom clients and things. So it's quite a unique thing, and we have obviously Fabrique du Temps is not the largest of watch manufacturers, so we have the agility to be able to bring that card to it. One client was actually with us a couple of weeks ago, getting his piece unique from us.
Nice.
And we could adjust. He could adjust himself, the tone of the gongs for his minute repeater to ensure that it would fit his own tone. So he was with the watchmaker, and the watchmaker would, adjust the gongs for him and say, okay, would you rather this note or this note? And he could really adjust his own.
I've never even heard of that. That's incredible.
It's a fun process to go through, for sure.
And so, I mean, with you guys, one thing that really amazes me is you guys do, as you mentioned, a full range, not just from the super horology stuff, but also to smartwatches and to mecha quartz and to very, in my opinion, very well designed aesthetically aesthetic watches. And in my opinion, aesthetics is the most important because at the end of the day, that's what you're looking at, right? The dial. And I remember the E-Scale World Time a few years ago was one of the watches that really, not even a few years ago, I think it was like 6-7 years ago, I believe, was a watch that really caught me by surprise. And when I found out the price as well, I was like, wow. I was like, with this kind of design and this kind of, this design and this movement as well, you can't really think of many other brands at this level that produce watches like you guys. And so I think one of my questions is how do you even go about the strategy of this? Because it's such a big range. Is it more focusing, is it going full force on all ends, or is it focusing more on high end?
Well, I think there's one common bit as to all the products we make, all the way from the smartwatch to the Carpe Diem and above, is the fact that we really focus on the quality of the product and making sure that it's well built. Obviously, it has the reliability that's required now in the industry, and all of our products from start to finish watch products are all overseen by Fabrique du Temps. So from mecha quartz and the connected watch all the way to the Carpe Diem, everything comes here and is made here at some point, and so. Often people say, okay, you make a smartwatch and a Carpe Diem in the same collection. One thing that people don't really realize is the amount of work that goes into getting a smartwatch forward. Obviously, watchmaking, as you know, has been an industry that has existed for the last 300 plus years, 350 years or more. And so you've had 350 years of people that have managed to refine the mechanics behind it and find new ideas and really iterate on it. The lubricants, the machines that work for all of that has been tried
like clockwork.
Exactly, exactly. and everything like that has been tried and tested for 3.5 centuries. Whereas the smartwatch, for instance, people say, "Oh, you make a smartwatch and a high complication watch." The smartwatch, the technology has existed since 2014, 2013, and we're still discovering a lot of things that in the technology side and improving it over the years, right? So technology is obviously a moving industry, and every time we need to rework all the internals, rework all the components inside to make sure that we can pack as much things in that small form factor to ensure that we get the best result out of it. So it actually takes a lot more time in the beginning of the process because you include new technology, you don't know how that new technology will react, and you need to iterate on that far more in advance than the mechanical side of things, which has been tried and tested for 350 years, right? So
that's really
both of these things, as long as we focus on the end product and making sure that the end product is super qualitative and has the high quality standards that we have at LV, we can basically make everything, and that's one of the things that we try to do. And both in our connected watch as well as our high complication, we bring audacity to it. Obviously the connected is very luminous and has a lot of funky functionalities, and the Carpe Diem also has a lot of funky functionalities as well, right? So both of them are very audacious, and the Mecha Quartz in the middle, which is actually kind of our high watchmaking segment, is also in that that realm.
And that's another thing. I think the industry needs to also put a little bit more focus on Mecha Quartz, because it is a perfect combination of the, as you mentioned, the 350 years of the past and the past since 2014, basically smartwatches, but it kind of blending that together, but pushing it more towards the mechanical side of things.
I mean, it's a James Bond watch, right? Where you have the two hands, the thing, and you press on the button, and then boom, it becomes a laser or whatever it is. So it's exactly that. That I think is quite interesting. Right?
So I mean, for you guys, like the future is extremely bright. And what are the best sellers for you guys right now, like in terms of collections and demographic? I'm just interested.
Well, I mean, high watchmaking is doing quite well. Obviously, all the industry is a bit in the same situation, and we're lucky enough to be part of that train, let's say. High watchmaking has been doing well. The connected watch as well is quite strong for us. But mostly, we even though our collections work very, very well in most cases, we really want to focus on the craftsmanship side of things. And for instance, one thing when I arrived, so I've been working at LV for a bit over a year now, and one thing I discovered early on is that we have one of the principles that not many other brands apply, which is one watchmaker works on one watch from start to finish in the high watchmaking space. And that is one of the core concepts that will keep applying regardless of the quantities that we'll do in the future, if we are lucky enough to be successful in the future as well, just to ensure that we can get that high level of quality standard and also this sort of close relationship between the client and the watchmaker. And tomorrow, if you were to buy a high watchmaking piece from us, and you were to visit La Fabrique du Temps, we'd be able to tell you, okay, this person made your watch from start to finish, and he was the one or she was the one that took care of the piece from the whole part of it, right?
And honestly, that is part of the experience as well. I mean, that blends into the whole holistic factor. I mean, I remember pre-COVID, I mean, even now it's returning, people would love to fly to places to pick up watches because it's an experience that they never forget. It's not just about the watch, it's about the people involved, the relationships that you build. It's this whole holistic thing, right? And for you, I think, I mean, last time we had dinner when I was in Geneva, you mentioned that you were passionate about watches for a very, very long time. And so this must be like, entering a candy store must be such a fun experience, right?
It's like a kid in a candy shop.
Exactly, exactly. And so, for you, like, if you could run any other brand, like hypothetically, like in 4 watches, like what would it be? Like,
I mean, again, one thing that's that I discovered in the process. You know, LV is not necessarily the first name you think of when you think about watchmaking. But one thing that I really enjoy being here is that we have the capacity to build product from the entry level to the super high end.
Yes. Which is so unique.
Which is very unique.
Yes.
We're not constrained in one specific sector,
exactly.
nor constrained by a very strong past, which forces us to be reminiscent of the past. So let's say, you know, we launched a piece in the 1970s or in the 1950s and 1940s, whatever it is. That was a huge success. We're not polluted by that launch 70 years ago to say, okay, we need to relaunch it because it worked back then. So I think I'm super happy at LV. I wouldn't see myself any other place at the moment. And I mean, we have a lot of interesting challenges ahead, and for sure it's going to be an interesting path because everything's to build. You know, that's one of the things that really fascinates me with it. It's a bit of the same thing at Hublot back 20 years ago. You know, everything was to build. The brand was not exactly in the same position as LV today of saying we've only had 20 years of history. We need to really rebuild the brand, and we see the success it is today. Right? It's not a 150-year plus history.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you so much.